Could you just start by telling me your name, please?
Ivan Spires.
And what's your involvement with the Body Positive charity?
Well, I was diagnosed HIV positive 2003 in Lancashire, and I came back here the second week of 2005. I joined as what we call the service user. That meant I was basically HIV positive. You can also register as a carer. And then in 2007, I became a receptionist at a paid position. That finished about three or 4 years ago, and now I'm still a volunteer stroke service user. So,
And how important is Body Positive to you?
very, to be honest, because like I was saying, I was diagnosed in Blackburn, Lancashire, and all my appointments were in the what's called the Blackburn Infirmary, and I walked in there one day and I sat down next to a man and his wife, the man I was working with. So everybody was always all shoved in there together. There was nothing confidential or anything, and we were all in one area. And then when I came back to Bournemouth, it changed. When you would go to the hospital, certain time of day, and all people were there, so you didn't have to hide anything. So.
What was your reaction when you first found out that you were diagnosed with HIV?
Well, they said obviously in the first place, can we do a test? And I said yes. I didn't think it was ever going to come back, obviously, with a positive answer, should we say. That was the day before my 43rd birthday. And unfortunately, I just went home and cried myself to sleep, quite literally, because, I had no idea, I had 3 daughters before I found out.
Mm.
And so I thought, oh, blimey, how did this all happen? And you're not a doctor, you're a patient, so you think, so what's going to happen to me now? And I just thought, that's it. I'm sort of in doo-doos, So I obviously went home and cried about it. Just literally cried myself to sleep.
Mm. Has your time with Body Positive Dorset, or your time since you were diagnosed, have there been any stigmas that you had beforehand to do with HIV that have sort of been dispelled over the last few decades?
Not really. I think the thing was that a lot of my friends were, I never thought about it, because I remember walking by her old school one day with my mate, and he was talking about the adverts that they had adverts on telly where it said AIDS, don't die of ignorance. They had headstones and they were falling over like this, and everybody was making jokes about it. I genuinely wasn't. I'm not saying that to make myself look better, but no, I wasn't. So I didn't have any stigma myself about it, and fortunately nobody has with me when I was diagnosed and I started to tell people.
What would you say to people who are maybe worried or reluctant to take a test themselves?
Well, the problem is you've got to care for other people, haven't you? And the idea is if you are HIV positive, you can pass it on without knowing about it. And if you've got a partner, say you go out, let's say you're a 20-year-old man, you go out, you meet a woman, you get to know her, you like her, you have sex, you can infect her. Why do that? There's I believe a thing going on at the moment where they're going to try to, get people to be tested, and they should, because some people, they think they don't want to know, and they don't want to start taking tablets, but you're going to have to in the end anyway, because if you don't get tested and you have got something, and which could get worse, like obviously HIV can, you're going to cause problems for other people.
Yeah, there's definitely, there's sort of an initiative going on at the moment to try and end transmission by 2030. Do you think that's possible? And if so, how do you think we can approach that aim?
I think, for me personally, is one thing we got to change is that this sort of confidentiality stuff for example, if you go to hospital because you're not well, and they do a HIV test in the background that you haven't asked for, but they find out you're positive, they can't tell you. So, I think everybody should be told if whatever they got was wrong with them, especially if it's communicable, and you can give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And because see, I've been thinking, a person like myself, if I went with somebody else who was HIV positive, we'd understand each other. But if I had somebody, a partner who's negative, then they won't. Hopefully, they won't become infected. But obviously, I would take every care I could. But you can't get all the positive people to have a sex life with each other because you fall in love with someone and you don't know their history. So.
What has been your favourite or sort of most memorable moment of your time here with Body Positive Dorset?
I think really some of the parties we've had, because the building we're in is very small, and it's not very good. It's on about 3 different levels. Not 3 floors, but it's just the fact that there's steps down and all that, so you can't do a lot in here. We used to have some rather nice parties at the other building, which could be attended by 30, 40 people. You had a decent sized lounge. And that's always a good thing, obviously, because as people, you can walk into there and you don't have to speak and watch what you say. You're all positive. Nobody goes around asking, so you can relax in there. It's a nice atmosphere.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain, you don't have to hide yourself. So.
I guess my final question is, do you think since your diagnosis that there has been any positive change in sort of people's reception towards HIV? Do you think it's gone in the right direction, or do you think there's still a lot of work to do?
No, I think it does. I think it's been good, the reaction since. I had a lady friend one day, she said, let me shake your hand, because she knew I wasn't going to get anything like that. Because some people have that mentality, I'm sure, somewhere. And perhaps they always will, what you might call the mindless bigots of society, but most people now know. In fact, I had a mate I was at school with, his name is Rob, and when I came back from Lancashire, I thought I'd tell him, because I didn't know how he would handle it. So, because like I said earlier, I was diagnosed day before my birthday, so on my birthday, I rang my brother, I rang my sister, I rang my wife, and let them all know. And then what happened is, when I told my sister Jennifer, she told her husband, who was in the army, and he told one of his army colleagues, Kenny, and Kenny told Rob. So when I got back and told Rob already knew, but he was absolutely fine with it. They know they're not going to get anything, then you can share a pint or whatever if you're drunk, and it's not going to affect them, so they were okay about it. I've never had any stigma about it at all from other people. I've been very blessed.
That's really good. I'm going to